Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today with us we have haunt actor, up and coming actor, Reese. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Uh, so before we get into all the good horror phenomenon that you know in like includes everything that you do, take us back a little bit. When you were younger, what was really a passion project, movie, or something? What drew you to want to be a haunt actor?
So, what drew me to wanting to be a haunt actor, wanting to be around the horror genre, was I always go back to 1931's Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, and just seeing Boris how he carried himself as Frankenstein's monster. Just I felt this sort of connection to Boris Karloff and Frankenstein, and I just wanted to be around more of that, and I wanted to eventually act like that. Be a I just looked up to the Universal monsters, looked up to Vincent Price and Bela Lugosi and all these legends, and that thankfully led me to where I am today.
Oh yeah. Uh, so growing up in kind of like loving the originals and stuff like that, through time, like they kept trying to redo the originals and stuff like that. So after you saw the original Boris Karloff and all the greats,
Yes.
going into say the 90s, and I won't even say the 80s, but the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, what were some of your other aspirations that you drew inspiration from, such like any other horror movies?
So I really enjoyed Kane Hodder's work as Jason and also as Victor Crowley. So seeing the brutality and the unique, lack of a better word, unique kills that he did in those films, especially with Hatchet. I really liked the brutality of it, and I thought, doing how the universal acting was relying on the actor itself for scaring could work well with the brutality that like Kane Hodder brought or Robert Englund brought. Nick Castle with Michael Myers, and just seeing. I like to um, combine universal acting with slasher acting, trying to do a little bit of brutality while relying on a genuine acting scare. So.
Oh yeah. So with haunt acting, kind of walk us through how you got into that, and did it happen by accident, or was it something you were out there seeking, wanting to do?
With haunt acting, I my first haunted attraction that I ever attended was back in 2022, and I knew I'm friends with the owner, and that's how I found out about it. Was he was doing this small haunted attraction, 2 nights, only 2 nights for Halloween, and so the next year he said he was going to do a bigger haunt, and that he wanted to have volunteers and have people do tickets and work security for door and stuff like that. And so I messaged him and said, could I help volunteer? And I originally thought it was going to be tickets or doing the door, nothing in the haunt. And then he was like, yeah, okay. And then a month later he was said, do you want to actually be a haunt actor? Do you want to be a part of the haunt itself? And I said, of course. So that's how I got introduced into haunt acting. So my first year haunt acting was in 2023.
Okay, okay. And you still do the haunt acting and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, and we're prepping, starting to get ready for the haunt season coming up. We're trying. The haunt I'm with is Spooky's Fright Night in Monroe, Michigan. So we're just trying to get bigger and better every year. It started off with a small group and only having 2 to 3 days to build in a 1,500 square foot room to having an entire building. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Monroe, there's a lot going on in Monroe. It's like Monroe's definitely putting Michigan on the map. You got, the haunt, you got the Museum of Horrors and stuff like that. And being saying that, next weekend there's the Michigan Horror and Oddities Fest.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
next week. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So the company you'll be working for, NC-17, will actually have a table there with some of the cast from Not There Part One, signing autographs and taking pictures and stuff. The good stuff.
Nice.
Uh, so let's kind of go into what are your aspirations of films? Like, how many movies? Because you're going to be getting into that relatively quick and in a rush this year.
Yes.
Uh, so what are your aspirations for that, and where would you like that path to lead you?
So, with the aspirations for working in film, I have done extra work for film. That's what got me into the haunt acting industry. My stepping stone was extra work with some filmmakers. Um, but with actual acting in horror, in just in films and especially horror films, um, I hope to one day it'd be cool to be a protagonist in the film. I would love to play a villain in a horror film. Like I mean that's who we look up to in the horror genre is those is the villains. So I always thought it would be so cool to sort of be like a monster in a film, or where it made the prosthetics and makeup, and I always enjoy seeing behind the scenes work for films, and so getting to see more of that and how the movies go from the studs and bones of it to being on a screen is always interesting to me. So learning about that is one of the big aspirations as well.
Yeah. So let's kind of we'll let the cat out the bag. You're actually joining some of my productions.
Yes.
Uh, but let's kind of go a little bit into how we met and what really led you and me to kind of have this collaboration that we're going to be having. You were on an episode of Reaper's Underground,
Yes.
and Reaper, awesome dude. Morty,
Absolutely.
awesome person.
Hmm.
They so with that, I actually was watching the episode, and just your presence and just your well, first off, you were in full costume, which was awesome. I was like,
Thank you.
okay, that's a badass look.
Thank
I
you.
gotta work with that dude. So, uh, going into watching that episode, I was like, okay, I kind of got a feel of who you are and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Why not just, see if he'd want to audition? When you got that message, well, when you saw that message, what was the first thing that popped in your head?
Just honestly, I was happily surprised. Honestly, it was like disbelief in a way, because I've always wanted to do horror films, and seeing that message like made my night. Honestly, it was so cool being on Reaper's Underground with Reaper and Morty, and seeing that message. I was like, wow! I was speechless. Trying to come up with words. So it was a really great message to see, and thank you for that.
Oh, you're most welcome. No, thank you for accepting. Uh, so can't give away too much detail, but I will say you are on multiple again productions that NC-17 will be doing.
Mhm.
With Not There Too, your character's kind of like we'll say he's a cameo,
Mhm.
you know. And moving forward past that, I don't want to go too much into detail, but I will say that you're definitely going to be enthused by how your character is going to play out. I'll just say that.
And I'm very interested to see how this character is going to get played out. You got me on the edge of my seat with it.
Oh yeah. Also, let's talk about another film you've been cast in, Rotten to the Core.
Yes, sir. I talked with Kevin. I remember you had called me and you were telling me about a little bit about Not There Too, and some future projects, and then you mentioned about Kevin, and that you and Reaper were going to be in his film as well. So I that night I had contacted Kevin, and we talked a little bit, and he created a role for me. I'm going to be Jackson, the caretaker of the abandoned insane asylum. So once we get some nicer weather outside, I'll be shooting those scenes and sending them to Kevin's way.
Oh yeah. It's funny how it works. Like you go on a podcast, and next thing you know, you're getting cast in multiple movies. It just goes to show how much the independent film community really is standing together and trying to support each other, you know?
Absolutely. It's it's a rather large community, but tight knit in a lot of ways. Like we all help each other out, and I've noticed that with actors, filmmakers, makeup artists. You all help each other out. When and anywhere you can. Honestly.
All right. Uh, so I know that with acting and I can't say haunt acting because I've never done it, but I know with acting comes a lot of people would say responsibility, but to me, it's not responsibility. I mean, that's just common knowledge that in life you need responsibility, but with acting comes certain set of like circumstances to make things work, you know,
Hmm.
and a work ethic most definitely does play into anything you do in life. That's just again, that's just how it goes. So with you, like biting at the bit to really kind of put your feet down and get a sturdy ground. For anybody who's going to see this later on, in your own words, what would you say would be some of the things that you can bring to the table that you might not see in other films or other productions or just in the industry alone? What would you be able to bring to any set?
I like to think I'm a team player. I like to work with others, and I'm always open to advice on how to how to better acting. On how to do things better or smoother. Um, I like to think I'm like versatile in some ways because I've had to do with hunt acting. If you don't get the scare on one scare you're already used to doing, you have to come up with something on the fly to get that scare for the guest. So for the people coming in, and you have to have plan. It's not just plan A and plan B. You have to have a plan C, plan D, plan E. You have to keep going. And so I like to think I'm versatile in that way. Um, I like to think I can also do physicality wise, like if there's any like intense scenes, like lack of a better word, like physical scenes where I have to, like struggle anyway. How you see in horror films. I like to think I can do that, but I'm always listening. To it. I like to hear what actors, directors, artists have to say because I like to take it all in. I'll sit and listen, and I'm always open ears, and always enjoy listening to the advice anyone has to give. Honestly.
Uh, you know, so let's kind of go away from the movie industry and the haunt acting for a moment and kind of talk about another passion that I think you seem to have.
Okay.
You love wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I grew up watching wrestling, 80s and 90s. Everyone's like Hogan and Warrior. I mean, I'm a Stone Cold guy, so that's just me. uh, so, what really got you into like having a passion to watch wrestling and kind of follow their dreams and stuff like that? Because that is also a form of acting.
Yes, and so my very first, so wrestling's always been sort of in my life. Like, I would get like an action figure of it was like I think my first action figure was Edge. So, and I didn't really know what wrestling was at the time because I was like 5 years old, and but about 3 years later, I was just scrolling through the TV through the channel guide, and Monday Night Raw was on, and I said to my mom, I said, "Hey, look, it's pro wrestling." So I turned it on, and the first thing I saw was it was Undertaker and Triple H getting ready for their Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 28. So I mean that, and just seeing that intensity and how intense they were with each other in and out of the ring with their promos, and especially how chilling the Undertaker was with delivering each word, like that just stuck with me, and I wanted to see more of it. And John Cena was on that night; he was fighting Kane, and I mean, just seeing these guys go at it and being able to deliver words in a rather impactful way just always stuck with me, and I was hooked from the start.
Oh yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna, kind of like age myself here. My first match, I was 5 years old. It was Hulk Hogan versus the Missing Link at the Michigan State Fair.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm old as shit, but still. uh, no, so the physicality of wrestling plays a part because they're doing everything on their own,
Absolutely.
and then in movies, again, it's like an orchestra. If one thing misses, the whole thing misses.
Absolutely. Yes.
And one of the things is like, now I'm still relatively new into directing movies. Like I made
Hmm.
my first directorial debut with Not There. The thing I learned was you have to be able to think on a fly.
Hmm.
You have to be able to, if there's an obstacle, how are you going to overcome that obstacle?
Hmm.
But with movies, sports, and everything like that, I mean, it's starting to kind of imitate life a little bit because, and I'm not a political person, and this never will be a political thing. But on top of that, with the way things are going right now,
Hmm.
you have to be careful with what you do. And in the movie industry, you can flub a line. My best advice would always be if you flub a line, just keep going. Fake it till
Oh,
you
yeah.
make it, you know? But there's a lot of people who they get in their own heads,
Hmm.
So that being said, like in your life, not to get too personal, but in your life, just professionally, what setbacks have you had that you had to overcome to kind of make yourself better, make your product better, and just make your whole team better?
So when I was about to join the Han acting crew, I was, believe it or not, I was very quiet, very shy, very introverted. And, I didn't, just wasn't around a lot of people. Just was fine with being alone and stuff. And when I was able to feed into the character that I was playing, because we all got to like create our, because we all did evil clowns for this haunt, and so when we were able to create our own, that really helped with being able to, like, lack of a better word, find my voice. So like I got to, that really helped with the screaming and the scaring, and that really helped bring me out of my shell. So I would say that was a big obstacle of mine, was going from introverted to extroverted, and it helped in a numerous amount of ways. With Because if back 3 years ago, I would never have been on Reaper's Underground. I would have been too shy. Like I would have been quiet and not, probably wouldn't really have said anything. But the haunt acting really helped out with that.
All right. So, and being quiet and stuff like that, and then overcoming that, uh, so you found your voice, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Uh, that being said, now moving forward, because you're about to embark on a very ambitious and I might even go as far as to say a very scary journey getting into movies.
Hmm.
Like you love movies, you've helped on movies, but there are certain things I could just speak from my own experience. There are things that will always come up,
Hmm.
and being able to voice your concerns, voice like if you have an issue, being able to voice those to the people you're working with or working for is something I encourage. So as a director, and since you're going to be in some of my movies, let me tell you, don't ever be afraid to come up to me and say, "Hey, Josh, X, Y, and Z is not making A, B, and C." You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, we're all there to do one thing: make movie magic. You know,
Absolutely.
so from the person who's just doing catering all the way to the main actress or actor or just whoever, it's an even playing field. You know,
Hmm.
uh, so that knowing that you're going into this field on a more permanent basis, I would say, uh, are you nervous? Are you scared?
I'm nervous, but it's like I describe it as like the good type of nervous. Like, you're, when you're excited for something and it's almost there. Like you get like those butterflies in your stomach, you get the pins and needles in your fingers. It's the good type of nervous, and I'm just really excited to finally step into the camera and finally act in horror in movies and especially the horror genres. And I know I've told you this, but thank you for the opportunities. And but it is a good type of nervous. Yeah, there is some anxiety, just being nervous. I'm sometimes still camera shy. I'm used to being behind the camera and stuff like that, but it'll be a good transition to finally step in front of the camera.
All right. Well, I can tell you. So I'll go a little bit into detail about your character for part two, just so I can kind of give you what it's really. I don't want to go past part two though because I don't want to ruin nothing. So, uh, so your character plays a character that is definitely he's dealt with some trauma, you know. And this is a exclusive for anybody who's going to see this. So they're getting to see the director talk to the actor. Uh, we will give you a name. Well, I will give you your character a name. However, you and I will work together with getting your story together.
Okay.
So, like if you have ideas of like you think a certain kind of trauma your character would have gone through,
Okay.
you can bring it to me
All
and we'll
right.
talk about it. So you in part two, you will definitely have two scenes, and each scene you will have a talking room. So
Okay.
uh, that's why we're just doing. We got a lot of cameos in part two, just because I'll explain that afterwards. There's definitely a lot of pressure kind of going into not only for me going into my second film, but a lot of pressure to kind of do something different than what we did with the first. And I think adding you and all the other people that we've added to the already returning cast that we haven't announced yet, I think it's going to work because you all bring something different, a different dynamic to the set. You know, I always take a minute to kind of praise the people, the guests that come on the show, and just the people I work with and stuff like that. But I will say that one of the things that stands out about you that I think you'll be able to pour into your character is authenticity.
Thank you.
You know, because just even when saw you on Reaper's Underground, I was like, you can tell this dude's passionate, but not even just about what he's doing, but just he's a passionate person.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. And I think that is something that is sorely needed in the independent scene right now, you know?
Yes.
And I think bringing in new people who already have that passion is I think that's going to be nothing but success. So, for that, to me, I'm eternally grateful for you accepting to do the audition.
Thank you very much, and I absolutely appreciate you for even sending the message and then talking with me about the audition. And I was just super grateful for the opportunity and how it just opened the door for other projects. So,
Oh yeah. Well, I can tell you. So you got at least three or four things planned for the next year or two.
yes.
And if anything, that's what I think we all should be doing is looking out for each other, helping each other succeed. Uh,
Absolutely.
that being said, I'm going to bring my wife to your haunt so then you can scare the hell out of her. But still, she's not a horror fan, so
Oh yeah. I'll
uh,
show love us then. There's like 25 of us, and we just all there's about 25 different haunt actors, and so
oh
and
yeah,
various walks of life. We have one. I think we have various sizes too. We have one who's like 4'11", 5 feet, and then we have one haunt actor who's almost 7 feet tall. I mean, like, and
dang.
he plays our giant. So yeah, I mean, we all walks of life.
Oh yeah. So is it okay if we get a little bit personal? Not too personal, but a little bit personal.
Okay.
Doing what you do, how does your family do they support you? Do they not support you? This is a question that I don't see a lot of people getting asked because most people who are asking questions are too scared to ask. I want everyone to know that there's a reason behind every question. So
Yes.
support, not support. How do they feel about what you do?
They're supportive. They come out to the haunt, and well, we always scare the living daylights out of them. But yeah, my mom, my dad, my sister, all very supportive. It's so funny sometimes. My grandma doesn't quite understand, so because sometimes I'll go over to her house full on how I was dressed for Reapers Underground, full on black and white paint and the hood. And one time I went over there. It was after a concert, and I had paint on, and it was a horror show and then the concert, and it was like 1 a.m. and I went over there, and she just didn't. But it's all good. All in all, everybody's been really supportive with it. So
That's good. That's good. Uh, so this is the part of the show where I give you the floor and kind of give you the chance to like give advice to anybody trying to get into any form of entertainment or just anything in general. Not information, what advice would you give somebody trying to break into one movies, acting, or just anything in life?
do your research, especially on haunt acting with tips. There's safety guidelines. There's ways on how to scare and how to keep just to keep moving, because you got to be on your feet, your head's got to be on a swivel, just got to keep moving. Be humble, lack of a better word. And I heard this from a haunt actor friend of mine. He was like, keep the egos at the door. He said, just come in with open ears and listening. Listening is definitely key. I feel I've learned, because we help build the haunt, like haunt actors will help build it. And listening to haunt actors who have been in this industry for over 30 years, listening to the stories, listening to how to work a haunt, just I think did wonders with haunt acting for myself. So I would say definitely just keep your ears open. Just go in with an open mindset, and listen to the veterans, listen to the ones who were there before you. So
All right. Uh, that's actually sound advice because there's a lot of, especially the younger generation now. You
mhm.
know, I mean, I believe you're still part of the younger generation, but the the generation after you. There we go. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
So the younger people trying to get into the entertainment world, they need that nudge to kind of just say, "Hey, go do it,"
Mhm.
And the thing about it is most people who give advice give it freely,
Mhm.
but there are those who are scared to ask because they don't know what kind of response they're going to get.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And with that being said, when you're doing your haunt afterward, do people stick around to kind of get it, tips from you or kind of just talk to you to want to say, hey, you did a great job or anything? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, we all stick around, because some of us will, because we'll go there in our normal clothes and then go change and do makeup there. Some of us will, and afterwards we'll give each other tips on how to do different things, do something different. But we always we give a lot of praise. We do a lot of affirming. Just, hey, you did a great job. Hey, this was a great scare. And we always have a real positive vibe at the haunt itself, and that I think that's why we're all very close and tight knit, because we do stuff outside of haunt season. It's not like we do haunt season and then we don't see each other for the rest of the year or for a whole year. We do stuff outside of it, and we'll talk about the haunt. We'll share character ideas, building ideas, but yeah, we all give each other advice on how to do things in the haunt.
All right. So we got about 10 minutes left. So I kind of want to I kind of want to pick your brain for a minute.
Okay.
So what would you tell 10-year-old you something you know now that you didn't know then?
Um, just don't give up. Just keep on going, and things might get hard, but you're stronger than you realize, and everything will turn out well in the end. The end result will be well worth the road. Will be well worth the trip down the road.
Oh
It's not the destination itself, I believe. It's the experiences you learn while you're making that journey to the destination.
yeah, that's good advice. Uh, so ultimately, in your life,
Mhm.
you've had a lot of highs,
Yes.
and I think you're going to continue like soaring. And I think you're gonna, well, one, your haunt character is off the chain. Let me tell you,
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Thank
You
you.
know, two, I think that the sky's the limit. I think that a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised by the way you handle yourself just by having communication. I can already tell you you're about respect.
Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. Uh, so I would say, well, not say, I would ask, what is the most important thing you've taken away from life in general at this moment?
At this moment, I would say just honestly appreciate what's going on in the now. Just appreciate the time that what you're doing right now. Like we can all look to something that's going to happen 5 years, 10 years down the line, and that's a good mindset. But I'm always about enjoying the present. Like okay, it's just about enjoying the people that are here right now and enjoying the time, cherishing the time because that's I feel time is worth more than money or anything materialistic. And I just say enjoy the time, enjoy small things in life. Just be appreciative of what and who is in your life.
Oh, yeah. Uh, last thing, and then we'll go ahead and end the show. But I'm going to give you the floor for about a minute or two to kind of plug your socials where people can or cannot reach out to you. That's entirely up to you. And plug where they can kind of like follow your journey as a haunt actor and just kind of follow where you're going in life.
So you can people can find me on Facebook, just Reese Bowling. It's a friends page. I don't have a haunt page or anything for my persona Crow Hendrix. But if you want to see the movie journey or the haunt journey, well, I would say follow NC-17, follow, and definitely I'll make those posts public, for people to see. But for the haunt, definitely follow Spooky's Fright Night. Always posting on there. Sometimes you'll see me. We do a lot of group pictures, and I'm gonna sound biased, but it's an amazing crew to work with. I met them all when I was about 18, 19 years old, and they were all a little bit older than me, and they took me in like as if I had been there for years. So just an amazing crew. Stelio Stellano does a great job as he's the owner of our haunt, so he does a great job, and he has a great crew. It went from 10 to 12 people to now 25 people. So I mean, every single haunt actor, makeup artist, everybody who's in the crew is just honestly an amazing individual.
All right. All right. I want to thank you, Reese,
Thank you.
for coming on the show.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I also want to thank you for just putting out positive vibes and like a positive outlook on things because we need that right now. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for the opportunities. And it's going to be great working with you.
Oh yeah. Uh, we'll end it here. I do want to say again, thank you, Reese, and definitely follow his journey. Follow everything this man does. He's phenomenal, and he has a bright future ahead of him. And I'm just lucky enough to say I'm a fly in the ointment, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that more than you know.
All right, all right, everybody. Till next time, stay NC-17.